the research process for the COLLAPSE project. And there are two parts to the research. Today we're going to focus on the first three of what I call the 4 stages of research. We're going to talk about explore, investigate, and process. So this is what I mean when I say the 4 stages of research. This is a matrix that's still in development. It's certainly not finalized, but we think about this a lot. What do you guys do actually when you're researching? So let's talk about the first stage, which is the exploration stage. You begin there on the left where it says start here, and you, towards the end of this phase, you're beginning to develop research questions. And originally back in the old days, you would go to an encyclopedia shelf and you would pull off an encyclopedia and start looking at some very large, broad overviews of your topic. That's changed a little bit. We now have Google, we have Wikipedia, and then we have some really great library resources like ABC Clio and Gale Virtual Reference Library that will help you with that. One of the most important things you can do to help you move to more sophisticated and deeper understanding of your topic is to take notes and write down keywords of people, places, events, dates, laws, and documents. That kind of information will really help push your searches further. So what you want to do is create basically a keyword vault, a lot of them, like 30, 40, 50, that number of keywords. Just write them all down. So it would look actually a little bit like this. So you can see that what's happening here is I've got a Wikipedia article on the left, and what I'm writing down is as many keywords as possible. Now, I'm not going to be discriminating about this. I'm just going to write everything down. I can deal with what does and does not work later. One thing you should be mindful of is to check spelling, because spelling will make a difference, particularly if you're looking in the databases. So where I've got antediluvian as a mistake, I'm going to have to come back and fix that. All right, good. So you get the idea. That's what's going on. So Wikipedia is a favorite go-to destination for this reference phase. I'm aware of that. That's not necessarily a problem unless you're being sloppy about it. So there are a few things you need to pay attention to. A lot of Wikipedia articles actually have a disclaimer on the front page saying, you know what, this one's a problem. You should probably pay attention to it, or you could help edit it. Very often that's an invitation to editors to help fix it. And remember that anyone can edit Wikipedia, including yourselves. So pay attention to notices like this. The other thing I really want you to focus on is to look at the view history. That is a tab that is in the top right-hand corner of the Wikipedia article. This is critical because what it will do is it will showcase the kinds of edits that have been occurring in this article recently. I would say that this article does not qualify as a stable article. There have been over 1 edit per day in the last 10 days, and some of them have really shown that there's a serious dispute going on. So if we look at, sorry, but crowd consensus or not, it has a bad faith edit to flying in the face of contrary evidence, the subjectivity of saying, quote, historians unanimously, unquote, believe Atlantis is fictional is plainly wrong. And then if you look at the last entry on this page, you'll see that they replaced content with Gucci down to the socks like Biggie's Papa. So clearly that is an act of vandalism. So this is the kind of article you would probably stay away from, and you'll never know whether or not you should stay away from an article unless you look at view history. All right, we're going to move to phase 2, the investigation. So this is where we really try to dig deeper. We have a vague understanding of a topic. We're starting to formulate research questions, and now we have to dig a little bit deeper to learn more. All right, so as you see here on our matrix, we've moved to the right side of our circle. And this is what it looks like up close. So some of the questions you're asking here are, am I finding accurate answers to my research questions? How do I know? And I'm looking at the CRAP test. So currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. This is where you don't use Wikipedia or Google or ABC Clio or Gale Virtual Reference Library. You will come back to Google later on, but for now we're going to focus on library resources. And in order to search those library resources, you dig into that keyword vault that you created in the exploration phase of your research. So dig in there, use those keywords, not the original keywords. If you're always looking for the same search terms, you're going to come up with the same kinds of results. So it's important to mix it up and to start experimenting with those keywords you've been collecting. I'm going to recommend that you use databases for this phase of the research.
Log in from the database page, and your username and password are actually right here. And we're going to use a search widget at the top of the page and just search for something basic. So I'm searching for Atlantis. Click search. And you'll see that we have 158,000 results. So we're going to change Atlantis to find it in the title, and we're going to look for the search term Plato in a subject. And look what happens to the results once we do that. We went from 158,000 to, let's do our search. Click, and boom, 40. Okay, good. So now we're going to actually narrow further by going to only academic journals. So you can go to show more and find all kinds of resources. We're going to look for academic journals and click update. And we are down to 4. So we went from 158,000 to 4 results very, very quickly just by manipulating delimiters or filters.
So that's one way of using the search widget for database searching. And I strongly recommend that even though it doesn't pick up all of the databases, it does pick up the databases you're going to be needing for this phase of research on this project for Collapse. We'll come to another phase later on where we want to use some more contemporary resources, and those will not be searchable through the search widget. But for now, that's where you want to be. Another place we're going to recommend that you visit is the online library catalog. And here are your instructions to download the Destiny Quest app, which will help you search the online catalog. Now, you've been shown this index card before, and yet I have a feeling that very many of you have not yet downloaded the Destiny Quest app, and we're going to insist on it. In fact, it is your homework for tomorrow. We will be checking to make sure you have done so.
And I want to show what it looks like on your mobile device to actually access ebooks. So let's go here. Now let's go to Destiny Quest. And we're going to type in the word immigration because that's what students have been researching, or at least our juniors, for their research paper. So we'll choose that. And what we're looking at now is a list of print titles. So if you click on one, what you'll end up doing is getting the call number over here for that title. And you can add it to a list or remove it from a list. And we can go back to results. But what I actually really want to show is how the ebooks work. So let's click on digital. And we're going to look on the first one. And this is a Gale book. And once we're looking through the titles, we can expand and come over here to this field, and we can click search within this publication. And you could look for and then you have a number of resources that you can choose from, so we can expand these. And you can scroll through the list and see which titles are of interest to you.
Now we're going to move to phase 3, processing. Basically, this is where you connect your learning. And you may have seen this diagram on the board in your classrooms. This is where we talk about the relationship between your source, your learning, and the project. We also talk about the relationship between your sources and how they complete a research puzzle. One of the things you'll need to do when you get down to this processing phase of your research is you want to look for gaps in your learning. You should get to a place where you start to understand what it is that's missing from your research, and you need to go back, sometimes even all the way to reference, to find out a little bit more information about one thing that doesn't seem to be fitting into your research puzzle or some kind of gap in your learning. We're going to spend a little bit more time on this as we get to the next part of our research for this project. Remember, if you have questions, text the library.